I was busy as chancellor of the University of Denver. I was having a great time. Went in for my annual physical, and the doctor asked me what had changed, if anything. And I said, nothing, except I'm sleeping more. Oh, and I got lost on the way to your office. Well, at the end of the exam, she asked me if she could give me a mini cognitive status exam. And I laughed, like, why? And that sent me through more testing because I did not pass. I was 68. I had a fabulous career for over 40 years. I was a higher education professor, and then I got to do administration. I was provost at Emory, dean at Yale, president at Colgate University, president Swarthmore College, chancellor of the University of Denver. And what does that day look like? Well, I'd start at 4:30. I'd do an hour of email. I might be able to squeeze in a quick workout. And then I would be in meetings all day. I would run from solving a student crisis to a new building project, to attending a tense faculty meeting, to working with donors. At 5 or 6 at night, you go home, you change clothes, and you're usually out at a gala or a fundraiser or having dinner with a potential donor. So the rewards are enormous, but the stress is extremely high. And you sometimes are not sure you even have time to breathe. When I first got diagnosed, it was devastating. We knew I had to retire. The doctor said, get your affairs in order. It really was kind of just being dragged into the coldest depth you could imagine. I felt like my life was over. My first neurologist that I saw told my husband and me that there was nothing that could be done. She said, well, in 3 years, you won't be buttoning your shirt. I found another neurologist. She was loving. She was patient. She gave me my diagnosis, and then she said, there's so much you can do. And she began to talk about creativity and diet and exercise. It took me a long time to realize that only recently people could be diagnosed early, and that I was one of those people. And when you get diagnosed early, you may live with this disease for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, especially if you live well. And of course, now medication is starting to emerge that can delay the progress of symptoms. But, that was a big change for me. I had to get my mind literally around it because I carried the same kind of stigma, a stigma based on the fact that people used to be diagnosed only in the later stages. The stigma that if you have the label Alzheimer's, you can't remember, you lose your independence, you lose yourself. But that's just not true now. Now that we're able to diagnose people in earlier stages, we're going to see many, many, many more people with this diagnosis, and we'll be able to treat them with medicine and with lifestyle changes. So yes, those bad symptoms of not remembering our loved ones will occur, but it may be 10 or 15 years from now. One of the hardest things with my diagnosis was needing to tell my adult son. He's my only child, and we are very, very close. And as his mother, I'm his protector, I'm his caretaker. He's to come to me, even though he was 42 when this diagnosis happened. There's very little written of how an adult parent tells the child this kind of tragic news. And it's a huge shift in the relationship. But he and his wife are so incredible. They looked at us and they said, we're going to be there for you. And they have been. But it's a very hard process to tell the ones you love, to tell your family and your friends. When you get diagnosed with Alzheimer's, many people don't know how to treat you. When I was first diagnosed, I I had this friend who kept talking loudly to me. I finally had to explain to her I wasn't going deaf. I was just losing brain connections. I had other people, and still this occasionally happens, who would talk only to my husband. It's kind of infuriating. I've been in a number of groups of people who have Alzheimer's, and we all say the same. Treat me with dignity, engage me. I'm still me. Now I know maybe hopefully 15 years from now, I will begin to kind of lose myself. But until then, until the very end stages, I'm still me. Knowing the path that I'm on has made a tremendous difference in my life. I think until now, I always delayed gratification. I put things off to the future. I didn't live in the present. Every day now is a gift. I used to think, oh, that sounds so hokey when people say it, but it's not at all. It's a real gift. It's a day I might not have. I was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2019, and now, 5 years later, I live well. I'm engaged in education about Alzheimer's, and I intentionally strengthened the muscles of joy. I don't think I was doing that when I was working. Now I really prioritize the relationships I have with other people, the gratitude I feel, the nature around me, my relationship with my husband, my son, my sister, and others, walking my dog. It changes time and space, and you're more fully present, at least for me, in the now.